Where are you going?
I'm going up to Bend, Oregon to visit a friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What
so
y'all
that'll
gonna
be.
do? Any plans?
We're gonna go to the rodeo tonight. I know that.
Have you
So
been to
that'll
a
be.
rodeo?
I've been to a couple rodeos. This will not be my first rodeo, pal. Okay,
You know what? The
lest
first
you
time you
think.
probably have ever used that quip. Okay, so now very important questions here. Do you wear boots when you go to these
Well,
rodeos?
that's an easy one because I don't own boots. So
Okay.
no, there is a famous bull that might be there tonight. That's called Party Bus. That I've been told is like a pretty dangerous bull.
Can I just tell you the
Yeah,
fact that you know the name of a bull
yeah,
and you're calling it out as like it's he needs
yeah.
to not worry about the bull. The only thing that really matters at a rodeo, in my opinion, is how funny the clown is.
You're there
Man,
for the
like
comedy,
yeah, he's the one who keeps it all together. Like the guys riding and risking their life and riding. That's all fine,
right?
but
I mean, they're only doing it for what, 8 seconds? I mean, this clown is up there for minutes. He's got to keep you entertained. That's true.
hey man, the clown's saving lives. Let's not forget. And he does have a
True.
barrel he can jump into. Wouldn't it be nice if life had the barrel? You could just run to the middle of the ring and just hide in the barrel. That would be nice.
What a segue. That's where like this industry wants to be right now, isn't it? In the
Hiding in
barrel.
the barrel. Yeah, I like that. So, on that note, this is our first show, Mike Magnuson. We've done shows before because we both had a podcast before. But
Correct.
this is the very first one where it is our show. And everybody listening, welcome to Wake Up Call. This is exciting.
We're very glad to be doing this. This is I'm pumped. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think it was born out of that. I think it's important to the audience to know you and I have known each other for how long? 25 years, maybe?
Probably not that long because I've only been doing this since I started this kind of 2008, but I think we might have met when I first went to Vegas Market in like 2010 or 11.
So it's been quite a while.
Quite a long time. Yeah, it could round up to 2 decades, which is crazy.
Yeah, and we've been, I'd say, I'd qualify us as good friends. We spend a lot of time together.
I mean, medium good.
So can I ask you, is medium below good?
Yeah, medium good is like on its way to good. We'll see how this podcast goes.
All right. Well, we got time to work up to good, but we spent quite a bit of time together, either speaking at events together or dinners at Vegas Market or crushing karaoke in Chinatown. We've got a lot of experiences that we've shared. So I love
We've been to each other's hometowns. I have not been to your
True.
current hometown, but I've been to your home in Carthage.
Yes, you were there. And my wife, she talks about you and Jeff all the time, by the way. She's a big fan of you both. You were gracious guest. I said, I really feel like you're misled here. You must have caught Magnuson on a good day because he's not that charming.
A lot of people just conflate me with Jeff because he's such a good guy, and some of that does rub off on me, to my benefit, which is nice.
Jeff is a great guy, and thank God for him that he does wear off on you because
yes,
your sharp edges can be a problem.
Yeah.
No, man, we've known each other for a long time. And when we started talking about doing the show, it took you about 5 minutes to get excited about. Like, I think right away from the beginning, when we started talking about doing the show, you got really fired up about it, kind of the same way I did, because we both know that we think there's a need for this kind of show in the industry. What was it about that, Mike, from your perspective, that caught your interest the most or kind of, got you really going on the concept?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I might have even not taken 5 minutes. I think you were still in your preamble introducing the sort of background before you laid out the actual kind of let's do this. And I think I cut you off and I was like, I think where you're going is let's start a podcast. And yes. And yeah, I think what caught my attention, first of all, I just, an opportunity, and this is, I don't want this to go to your head, but an opportunity to hang out with you was appealing. I do enjoy that. And that will be the end of all the nice things I say about you on this
Well,
podcast.
wait a minute, wait a minute. I'll build on that, and I agree. Most for anyone listening to this, you're in for a good ride because we're going to talk about a lot of serious stuff. But one of the things that and it never fails every time I'm with Mike and we go to dinner, and we usually with Jeff Cassidy and Jeff Quinn or whoever's along for the ride. I laugh myself crazy, and it's always side splitting, and I always leave, and I think I always text you, and I'm like, man, just very grateful for that because there's very few people that I mean, I'll go to dinner and have a good time with many, many people, but man, our conversations, it really gets me, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And
It's always good
I
when you
agree.
tell people that you're going to be funny, because that really always lays a great foundation.
I never promise funny.
Yeah.
I promise interesting. We'll
Yeah.
be interesting.
People
Like
love to be told that they will think something is funny.
but
They love
for
that.
the record, we can rewind. That's not what I said. I said it's funny to us. Whatever's
Oh,
funny to
that's
us may not
true.
be funny at all to anyone else. But no,
That's
I
very
love it,
fair.
man. I love it. And to make it interesting, and I'm with you, dude. I can't wait to spend the time with you. And there's so much to cover, so much to talk about in this industry.
Yeah,
So
and and then of course, I mean, I think this episode really what we wanted to talk about is just this really, like, why did we even start this? What are we here for? Um, and obviously part of it is the opportunity to get our heads together on things, because it's not just that we have a good time, but I always found your perspective. Oh God, I said this was going to be the only nice thing I said about you on this podcast, and
keep
here I go.
coming, keep
Oh
coming.
my gosh. All right. Well, let's get it all out.
Yeah.
So I find our conversations very stimulating. I think you sharpen my thinking on things, and I think you bring just a great, very well-rounded, uniquely well-rounded perspective, having worked in so many different corners of this industry, whether it's manufacturers, retailers, component supplier, of course, accessories. You've literally worked in every corner. You've always done it through the lens of a marketer, which I think is fundamentally one of the kind of central challenges that this industry always faces, no matter what corner of the industry you're competing in. And it is kind of like marketing is also kind of a glue that sits in between the product, the consumer, the retail, the brand. It sort of connects all of that. And so it is very central to a lot of the issues and opportunities and threats and so forth. So you always have just an interesting perspective on things that is grounded in the experience of having sat in those chairs and having actually put ideas into reality. And on top of that, you also are someone who tends to think outside the box too. So it's easy to kind of for you to go and imagine how things could be or would be or will be. And so the conversations that we end up having, just you always bring a great perspective from my standpoint that helps me sharpen my thinking. And so I thought, wow, this will be great, because I think that we will have an opportunity to discuss the issues that are, I think, super important for this industry to be discussing. And I know you'll sharpen my perspective. So I think hopefully that will be of benefit to our listeners as well. And and I think that just building on that, the need for a place for people to come together is was a big part of what appealed to me about this premise. And we did a little of that, each of us, in our previous podcasts, and I think that we wanted to continue some of that work, I think, together on this one.
Yeah, no, I agree, and same for you with me, right? So my perspective is my perspective, but and this is true. You are one of the few people that, in my opinion, really sometimes, Mike, you come at it from a completely different place, and I love it when people can do that for me, and I go, God, I never even thought of it that way. And I get that a lot with you because your experiences are different. And you're so driven by the data and the consumer side and you're on the front line with that stuff. And you're not in the forest as much, right? You're in some ways you're an observer of it and really an advocate, and you're looking at it through the lens of the consumer. And I think that's so important for the entire industry to be thinking about. And that's the neat thing about this show too, is that you and I disagree on stuff, and we'll do that in the show, and that's really healthy and great. But, we're gonna get like, part of it is, to your point, man, this is a place for people to gather, right, and share thoughts and comments and send us notes. And, when you're coming to our website, or, you see us in some kind of social media, or we see you at an event, man, we want that perspective. We want people to push on us. We want them to give us thoughts and analysis of their own that maybe we haven't considered, because that is what I think our value to this audience is gonna be. We're not gonna get it all right. There are thoughts and opinions, but, at least we're willing, I suppose, to put it out and create conversation, because Mike, you've done such an amazing job, and you and I got to give a speech together recently, and part of that, the content of that speech, was to say to this industry, "We gotta wake the hell up, everybody," and that's where you and I kinda landed on the name of the show, because there's stuff that we're facing in this category, it's not good, and it's one thing to be aware of it, it's another thing to be aware of it and then and create strategy and action around it. And I think that's part of this too, is to say, hey guys, like, I get it, and you're working in your business, and maybe some of this other stuff isn't on your radar, maybe to the level it should be on your radar. But
Yeah.
before you know it, if we're not talking about it and doing stuff, then it's going to overtake us. So I think that's kind of what inspired both of us. We love this category, and we want to make it better.
And I think that there's a bit of, yeah, some of that is a bit of a frog in a pot dynamic. If you know that
Yep.
analogy, the
Yep.
water is getting hotter and hotter, and you sort of, it's, the changes are subtle enough that you don't realize it until all of a sudden the water's boiling, and there you go. But the other part of it, I think, sometimes is people, even if they see generally the issues that are happening, they maybe feel powerless in their particular chair to do much. And I think that's another thing that having these conversations can help with. It can just be like, hey, let's talk about the issues, but let's also talk about what things people could do to help avoid problems, to help get to better outcomes. And there, in many cases, I think, are things that people can do. And so just, I think, having those conversations and sparking that dialogue, I think, is going to be beneficial. And we want to hear from others on this too. Obviously, we want this to be interactive, but I know that's one of the benefits of getting together in person at some of these industry events. And you and I are both, big advocates of that. Obviously, you helped start one of those in a past life, if you will. And obviously, I've been a big proponent of that, as well as spoken many times at Furniture Days events, and also at buying group events and so forth. So those are all great. But the problem is that they happen too infrequently, and you can't get everyone. You're just never going to get everybody into that room. And so these issues are coming fast. The threats that are coming, the opportunities are passing by. All this stuff is happening quickly. And I just don't think we can afford to wait, till the next time we're up on a stage and, have that opportunity to reach people, but then they leave and go home, and then they go back to their daily lives and don't think about it till the next time they're, in a room with some people. And so this hopefully will become a more frequent dialogue that we can create.
Yeah,
So
you know what I love about it? You and I have done both. Between the two of us, I don't even know how many speeches we probably have given between Furniture Today events, or, the buying group events, Brand Source. I know we both have been there, and that's such an amazing group. And I love those types of groups, Mike, because that's the front line, man. That's the retailer there, and those are the people that make it happen every day. But what I love about this over a speech like that is that it's a dialogue. That's why I love long form content, because you have a conversation. You get some banter, you go back and forth, you have ideas, you're reacting to those things in real time. And it's different than you or I up on a stage talking to people or at people, I suppose. This is just different. And, we'll be taking thoughts and comments and, whatever from people in the audience, and incorporating those into
yeah.
what we do and what we say. And so hopefully we get that voice included. We both think that's important. And then, we're talking about the threats to the category. How about this? How about our ability with this platform to shine light on the people getting it right? There's so many people
Oh,
that
absolutely.
are so smart and they're doing some good stuff, man. And that's another big part of this is to catch them in those moments and go, hey, everybody, like this is the problem and this guy's got it figured out. Like do that.
Yeah.
And let's tell his story or her story because that's where the gold is. And that's what I love about any live event too. It's not about the content necessarily. It's more about the lunches when you're at lunch or breakfast with people and you're in dialogue, you're at that campfire, right? And that's where those things happen. So this is kind of a version of that, right?
I think that's one of the ways we can highlight that action that can be taken
Yep.
is showing, hey, here's somebody who's taking action on this, and this is the type of action you too could be taking. And that helps a lot when people can see it.
Yeah, totally. And even, I don't know, it's a bit different, isn't it, than even a Facebook group or, a LinkedIn thread. Some people, they have a thought and they don't necessarily want to go out with the thought. I know many times on LinkedIn, there's this one guy, I will not name him, but anytime I post something, he just attacks me, like jumps on it and he does it with a lot of people. And a lot of people don't post things because of trolls that kind of do those types of things. And here, they can be behind us, sending us notes, emails, comments, whatever, and we'll bring their idea to this platform and we'll represent it, right? And we can pro con that. But
We are the
so many
platform for
things.
trolls. Is that the premise? Hey, trolls out
Or
there,
are
we could help amplify your message.
or we're troll killers, like no more trolls, like or we are trolls. I don't know. We have to think about it. But yeah, man. That's very true.
Yeah. Well, I think this is just, I guess, building on that. This is simpatico with all of those things. I think this is just a way to hopefully enhance and amplify the things that people are already doing. I think those are all great. The Facebook groups and what have you, like we talked about, the live events, I think are awesome. But hopefully we can add something to that mix that is valuable for people. And I really believe that we can.
I agree with that. Can we talk for a second about our media partner in this?
Oh, absolutely.
I really love this part of it. When we did our other shows, they were awesome and it was fun to do those. And I know that our audience, Mike, was different than what this one's going to be. Because they were smaller, anyone can do a podcast. That's fine. The big difference in doing a show and doing a big show is your distribution. And with Betting News Now and Home News Now as our media partner, this show is going to be broadcast or distributed to over 27,000 people inside of our industry. And that's crazy. Like I know what, I built in the past on 1,500 email addresses roughly, and this is now going out to 27,000 people in our industry. And that really fires me up. And Rick and everyone at Betting News Now and Dave Perry and Alex and all those guys, man, I'm really excited about that part.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm obviously thrilled that this will have the power of their distribution behind it, but also they've been fantastic to work with, and obviously we both have known Dave for many years, but also Alex and Rick. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah,
I think
couldn't be more thrilled.
it's crazy what Rick Harrison's built, don't you think? I mean,
Oh
like
my gosh.
he just the guy is I don't know, trailblazer, gunslinger. I don't know what the right word is for him, but he started out and, everything starts small like that, but now he's got so many different platforms in his reach. And and what was so cool about it for me with him is literally, and it's kind of the same experience you and I had when we started talking about this show. It took us what, 5, maybe 10 minutes after talking to him about the concept, like he got it right away and he was all in. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
man, that you line up. When you line up with people that well, it's going to be a good ride.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We should also talk about, since we've been talking about the content, we should also talk about the audience for this. And this is, I think in our minds, this is going to be content that is obviously very focused on this industry and the issues that we face as an industry, but it will probably not be limited to any one participant in this industry. I would imagine that this content is going to be pertinent for everybody from the CEOs making the most strategic decisions facing their businesses, right down to the retail sales associates who are on the front lines, who are, facing the changing consumer behavior patterns on a daily basis that we're going to be talking about. And so and of course, everyone in between. So I think this is going to be content that's going to be extremely widely applicable to everyone, but focused obviously on our industry here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment of it. I've always, and you have too, we look at it, everything from the consumer lens, right? And that's ultimately the game, because I don't care if you're a component supplier, bedding producer, whatever. At the end of the day, the consumer has to buy something for any of us to be relevant. But in this category, because it's a facilitated purchase, the RSA is on the front line, and I know we feel the same. And that's the group that, we put them on such a high pedestal. So there'll be great content for them. They're the hero, in my opinion, of our category. And then, but yeah, for the component suppliers, for anyone in the, that are actually building anything from mattresses to adjustable bases to the accessories to, category, it's going to be for everyone, no doubt. And I think that the core of it for us is we literally love this category, and we care about it, and we made a lot of friends in this industry, and we want people to win. There's a lot of room for that.
Yeah.
We're not behind any particular group or whatever. We want people to win and to kind of come along on the ride with us,
Yeah.
and do what we can to make it better, even if it's just a little bit.
Absolutely. And I'll concede, and you've maybe even picked up on it just in some of the comments I've made already. I mean, I've got some concerns. We want people to win, but we have been collectively on about a 3-year losing streak.
Right.
And so it's natural to have some concerns when you're in that situation. But fundamentally, I'm optimistic because I see a path forward. I see a path where the outcomes are good. And I desperately want that for this industry and the many great people in it.
So, Mike, tease us a little bit, like with that. You don't have to necessarily attack a single issue, but if you were gonna, I don't know, make a blanket statement, because we'll get into topical things, I assume, on other shows. But like, if you're gonna blanket that, like, what is it do you think our industry needs? Like, what kind of, is it a character trait? Is it, like, what do we need to be doing or thinking going forward in a general sense, in terms of how we look at this category? What would you say, maybe or one or two of the things that are maybe most important for us to be thoughtful around?
I'd say in a general sense, and this is something we probably will dedicate an episode, one of the early episodes too,
Yeah.
is a deeper dive on this. But in a very general sense, one of the most urgent things we need to do as an industry is fix the information ecosystem that surrounds the purchasing of this product. The information that people are accessing about this product is insufficient, in many cases inaccurate, in many cases spam, what I would just call spam. And yet the information ecosystem, and this is obviously a lot of this information is online. And given what's happening with AI, obviously what already has been for many years happening with search, the wrong information is getting elevated to the consumer's attention. And AI has taken that to a whole nother level because it has stripped it of all of its context so that the consumer who is absorbing that information doesn't even have their own ability to decide whether this is legit information, trustworthy, valid information, the way they at least would have a few years ago, even when Google was elevating the wrong information. So the problem is just getting worse and worse, and it's leading people to make bad decisions, which fundamentally do harm to companies who are trying to sell high quality products that have legitimate performance, because ultimately the information out there is not leading them in that direction. And it's essentially becoming more and more compelling in the way it leads them in the other direction. So fundamentally, that is a critical issue. And that's that's a great example, I think, of something that any one person might feel powerless to control. Like, okay, so Mike says we need to fix the information ecosystem in the mattress category. Like, great. What the hell do I do about that?
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah. But the reality is there are things that every single one of us can do. And it doesn't take that much. it really doesn't take that much. If each person does a little thing, then all of a sudden your little corner can get fixed. And like the AI actually is pretty smart in a way that it will pick up on really trustworthy signals when they're available. They just haven't been available. And so again, I think this merits a much deeper dive in a future episode, but that's an example of something that I think we really need to tackle as an industry.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's a lot of BS out there for sure. It's interesting because it's not just our industry has always been plagued, in my opinion, with, people making claims, saying things they shouldn't, and now it's so much worse. So that's manufacturers, right? And then even some retailers allowing that, right? And, I've been involved with some retailers where, like, as a vendor, I come in and I'm like, here's our beds. And they're like, well, where's the proof of that comment? Like, where's the data to support that? And I would have to produce that, but that's very, very few and far between when that happens. So there's
Yeah.
there's information that marketers on finished product they're putting out there. There's information on websites that's wrong. There's information even at retail where people are being told things, and a lot of the algorithms, Mike, and you talked about this a lot. They favor the high velocity product that get reviews, and the reviews are such a false signal, right? Because it's not really telling the whole story on the product. And so I'm with you, man. I think that
Yeah.
the information and with AI now more than ever, it's like, what do you believe? You can see a video of someone and not even know if it's actually real. Or so I think
Yeah.
there's a trend in a general sense of what information you should even trust at this point.
Yeah. And I think actually any one of those little topics that you just mentioned that are
Yeah.
all pieces of this bigger problem that I laid out could merit a deep dive on their own. We could
Yep.
spend an episode easily talking about reviews. What are they good
Yeah.
for? What are they not good for? And that is just as relevant for a salesperson who needs to be able to speak to this
Yep.
intelligently with a customer and help contextualize for that customer what it is that they can take from those reviews that they've read and what it is that those reviews just really can't be helpful with and why. But also it's extremely relevant to the CEO of all these companies, like because the CEO knows that reviews are, for whatever flaws they may have, they're extremely relevant. And so you need to know how they fit strategically for your brand and for your product and for your stores and so forth. So the reviews are a topic we could easily go deep on. We could easily go deep likewise on how the AI algorithms are ingesting content, what kinds of content are they utilizing, what types of content could they be utilizing, and obviously that's again very strategic, but it applies to the most senior executives, but again I'd say it's relevant right on down to the retail salesperson because they need to be able to again contextualize for their customer how those algorithms work and why in some cases they may not be as reliable as in other cases. And I think a good salesperson it's no longer enough to simply be a product expert. You also need to be sort of an information translator. You have to be aware of all the information because that consumer is no longer coming in having learned nothing before they came in. Like that,
Yeah.
pretty much those days are over where they just come in and go, I don't know, I'm putty in your hands. I don't know anything. They come in, they're armed with information, they've read a lot, they think they've learned a lot, and P.S., whatever they have learned in their research, they trust a heck of a lot more than they trust the person standing in front of them in the store. So it's incumbent upon that person to flip that dynamic and earn that consumer's trust, while at the same time maybe disarming them of some of the conclusions they may have reached, falsely based on misleading information. And so that's a delicate thing to do. And I think, but yet a critical thing, increasingly important in almost every customer interaction for a salesperson. So being able to really understand the nuance of how these algorithms work, where they get it right, where they don't get it right, and why is really important so that they, as a information translator can convey that to the customer in a way that doesn't turn the customer off, but actually earns them the trust from that consumer and then allows them to ultimately lead that customer to the best possible decision for them.
Yeah, I love it. And you're right. It's the algorithm, and people need to really know. And it's hard to keep up with, man. Like, what is the impact of AI on search? What's the impact of AI on, when they're talking about your store? There's so many things where we do need to understand what's originating. So I thought maybe we could switch gears here a little bit too and talk a little bit about us personally. Might be a little uncomfortable, but like, tell whatever you're willing to share just about you and the family, and then what your current gig is. There's people watching this that may not know you or may not know Good Bed, so a little bit on that too.
Are you going to talk about how you're a furry and all that, or are we going to not go that deep?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no, no.
All right.
I don't think I don't want
We'll
anyone
cut that.
judging
We'll cut
me.
that.
Yeah,
All right.
cut it out. No. I have 3 furries in my house at my feet right now, so I don't think I need to be one. I own many of them, but
Are we just going to talk about like our backgrounds, how we came to this
yeah, just,
industry a little
anything
bit,
you're
or?
willing to share about your family, like where,
Personally.
yeah,
Okay. Got it.
family, but then also about, the Good Bed gig and what you do for, for a day to day, a little bit of information there.
Yeah. Well, I live in San Francisco. I've got 2 kids, about to be an empty nester, actually, staring down the barrel of that.
Welcome to the club, baby. We
Yeah.
meet on Thursdays. It's a great way to live.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Let's see. It came to Good Bed from completely outside the industry. I was working as a strategic management consultant, like
But
a
what is
business
Good
strat.
Bed? For anyone who doesn't know what it is, like maybe
Okay.
define that, and then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So Good Bed is essentially an information resource for consumers, but we've become, I think, more than that. We've become more of like a knowledge base for the category, I think, and a way for information to be organized around this product, and that I think will ultimately translate to retail and hopefully helping sales associates provide information to their customers with, again, with credibility and trust. And we also work with both online retailers as well as brick and mortar retailers. So we're kind of a marketplace in that respect. We basically start with the consumer and help them think about this product. And typically they're looking for information on what to buy and guidance in that regard first. But then we're able to then meet them wherever they are on that front and help them kind of find their way to, if they want to shop online, sure, we can lead you to places you can do that. But in many cases, our customers tend to be people who would like to shop in a brick and mortar store. And so we have a network of partners that we work with in that regard to help them find opportunities to do that. So that's essentially what Good Bed does. And it's almost, I almost think of it sometimes like Kayak, but for the mattress category, because it's a place where you can kind of come and look at all the information across all different products, the same way you can look at all hotel chains on Kayak. The difference in our category is that we don't have standardized information about our products. There's no easy way to just get it, with by a manufacturer or a retailer filling out a form, the way a hotel can say, yep, we have parking on site, yep, we're open 24 hours, our front desk, or yeah, like those are easy things that are factual. But if you ask a manufacturer, like, what's the softness level of your mattress, you will get something that is not comparable to any other manufacturer's answer, for example. And so that was kind of one of the things that we realized early on, is that, we're going to have to probably provide some standards here, like just provide some benchmarks that allow products to be, understood across brands. And then on top of that, the other difference is consumers tend to know what they're looking for in a hotel, but they don't necessarily know what they're looking for in a mattress. So there's a lot of education that we have to provide as well to just kind of bring them up to speed on how they should be even thinking about this, what factors they might want to consider. You don't have to educate a hotel shopper that, hey, you might want to be near the airport, or you might want to be near the center of the city. That type of thing, people just know. But with mattresses, the equivalent, they don't tend to know. So those are kind of the key differences. But what it's led us to is a place where we feel we can really help provide this information, this sort of product intelligence, if you will, layer for the industry that ultimately I think can help not only the consumer, but can really help retail.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Goodbed is, and really what connected to me to you early on when you first shared your concept with me about Goodbed. Our industry, I don't know how much people realize how polluted our category is with fake review. I call them fake review sites where it's just about
It's
the
pretty
click.
valid.
It's just about the click. It's about a listicle. My favorite example of it is best mattress for side sleepers. How the hell are you going to know what the best mattress for a side sleeper is? It's going to depend on everyone's body comfort preference, all that stuff. So it's just a
Yeah.
bullshit list, and I can't stand that. And I want everyone to know that from day one, I have never once seen you ever get distracted by your commitment to the integrity of the information that Goodbed provides. You've never, ever done anything for clickbait in terms of listicles. Your website hosts reviews from consumers, but you're also doing reviews as an expert inside of the category. So they're getting a couple different perspectives there. Yes, here's what consumers say, but here's also a guy that has been in the industry and knows a thing or two about beds. So you're giving them a professional opinion. And I respect so much that you've done such a great job of curating information, developing a trust and relationship with the bedding brands in the industry that they want you involved. They want you to talk about their product because they know you're going to be fair and honest. And so I think there's so many good things there. And you guys are very unique in that way as it relates to a website where, a consumer can go for legitimate, honest opinion about what they're shopping for.
Yeah. And maybe in some cases beyond opinion, just kind of measured fact.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
But right. I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, it has been a noisy category. And I think that's been part of the problem with this broken information ecosystem is that a lot of bad information exists out there and it tends to be easy to find and it tends to lead people in the wrong direction. Even more prototypical example that I hate is the best mattress for back pain. That one just kills me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like what possible basis do you like? The back is only going to be kept out of pain if it's held in proper spinal alignment. No mattress can do that equally well for every person, given their different shapes, weights, sleep positions. I mean, so that is just the most BS list of all times. And yet, if you search best mattress for back pain, you will get a bunch of people who will gladly provide you a BS list on that front because they know it will mint money for them. And
Yeah.
those are all the fake review sites. Anyone providing a list like that, it's a great red flag. It's like, oh, they've just self-identified. They are a fake review site because that is a BS list.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who knows mattresses knows it's a BS list. So yeah, there's a lot of that noise out there. So it's been a challenge for us, but I think more so it's a challenge for the category.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll share a little bit about myself so people can know where I'm coming from also. But dad, husband, two kids. I'm in the empty nest club already. And it's, I love my kids and I'm grateful that we've done a good enough job raising them that they want to come home and hang out with us, when there's a holiday. And so, and
yeah,
my
wait till
wife and
their
I,
friends hear this podcast. That will end.
well, the friends like it here because I'm always the one buying the booze and, feeding them food. So they like to come. But no, and my wife is incredible and I'm so grateful for her. And the fact that, now that the kids are gone, we have enough in common. I don't know how. She's such a good person and sweet and
She
measured
is a
in her
saint. I
thoughts.
think anyone who
Yeah.
listens to this show will quickly understand that.
So how she puts up probably with me on a daily basis that she gets like 5 stars for that part. But
5 stars.
if I'm rating her, since we're talking about,
yeah, she'll be thrilled to get that good review.
Hey, listen, my brother and I know a guy. Well, anyway, he gave his wife a review, and he's kind of an accounting guy. And he literally gave his wife a review, and They're no longer married, which is shocking. It wasn't because of that, but and we're
It
like,
didn't
dude,
help that it was a 2-star review, but
we're like, you can't do that, man. Don't give your wife bad.
yeah.
No. And then so I work with Schiffman, and you and I have gotten to work together, and we'll talk about that. That'll be another episode. But we'll get to talk about that because we collaborated on the Good Bed Dow testing protocols with Schiffman Mattress. We jumped into that right away too. We saw a lot of value in what you're doing with that. But Schiffman is a family-run business, Mike, 1893. They've been around a long time, and you did a fantastic review, when we launched Timeless, and your deep dive into that product was so good, and it's on GoodBed's website, and, I just love it. I have worked with the largest component supplier in the industry, like in Platt, the largest mattress manufacturers in the industry, both, Sealy, Stearns& and Foster back in the day when I first started, and then with Serta, when I was 28, and worked with them for 9 years, and then the largest retailer when I was merchant at Mattress Firm, and now I'm in the e-com space, which I'll get to in a second. So I've had kind of a unique, perspective or ride through the category.
No doubt.
But, Schiffman's an amazing, and so I've done the big business thing, big company thing for a long time. So when Bill Hammer came to me at an ISPA event, actually, and told me he wanted to take Schiffman to the next level and change things, I'm always very reluctant, man. Like especially with a family-run business, that is such a huge red flag to me because it's really hard to change. It just is. And when you're talking about a family-run business and his dad's involved, and so you have the dynamic of the family, and probably different opinions there. And I've been brought in other companies to facilitate change. In when the company themselves, and I'll get credit for getting them to a place that's different than where they were. And I always tell people, it's not me. I mean, I'm the one pushing it, I guess, and bringing ideas to help them evolve. But I always give credit back to the Bill Hammers because he's the one that had to change. I mean, I had the ideas, and I'm bringing him, and I'm telling him his baby's ugly in some cases, and really nothing at Schiffman is ugly, but it needed to change. The product needed to change. The aesthetic needed to change. How we looked at our marketing needed to change. How we established and planted our flag as the OG in luxury and a thought leader in that space, and I've just had such an amazing, time doing it, and to Bill's credit, man, he's done what he said he would do. We talked about it for 3 months before I ever went there, and I just love the brand because, man, our factory is 100 years old. You literally walk up these creaky stairs, and we're doing stuff that people used to do, but like don't do anymore, like two-sided beds. And I just love it, man. And so when I went, I'm like, I see things that need to change, but at the end of the day, at the core of it all was their commitment to quality. And I
Sure.
kind of mapped that back to your commitment to integrity with GoodBed. But the commitment to quality and the commitment to do it right and the commitment to be really good partners with the people we do business with and to give them big ticket stuff that'll help them grow their business. So I love that. Then I
Mhm.
got to bring my brother in, to be VP of sales, and the team's awesome. So that's my main gig. So love doing that. But then also an investor in and the chief marketing officer for Perfectly Snug at perfectlysnug.com. It's a 2-inch thick powered temperature control product. And being a marketing guy's fine. And that's how the founders found me is through just being an industry guy and all of that. But I wasn't an e-com guy. I dabbled in that stuff and whatnot. And so this gave me a chance to dip into something I didn't have a lot of experience in. And I'm a complete freaking moron once again because I have this easy button in my brain. I'm like, yeah, I got this. I know marketing. I know the category pretty well. I can help them. And then I start
Blind
diving in.
confidence is what it's called.
What, blind confidence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I need some like vision help. I need to like take the blind specs off and be more realistic, I suppose. But I'm like, yeah, hold my beer. I got this. And then I dive in and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen anything more complicated. And so my heart goes out to all the retailers out there that are trying to figure out the digital space and Google ads and paid social and influencers and PR and all that stuff. It's so hard to map your way through all that. But anyway, the product's amazing. The founders from Canada, they're amazing. And it's been an amazing ride to use amazing 3 times in a row.
Yeah, wow.
It's been a great
I think
ride.
we've
I've
hit our
learned so
quota.
much. We've had our quota for amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. That's the spare time thing. But it's great being involved in it. I've learned a lot.
Yeah. And to be clear, this podcast is not going to be an advertisement for any of those companies, or certainly not for Goodbed either.
No.
We're providing information, I think, on our backgrounds merely just to contextualize our comments and help people understand, where we're coming from, how we have maybe a point of view on something, and what it's informed by, really. I mean,
Did I get infomercially there? Is that what made you think?
Well, you did say amazing 3 times in one sentence.
Okay.
So,
but I did not say act now. In my defense, I did not say act now.
That's true. You did withhold that.
There was no call to action.
Incredibly restraintful.
No, I guess where we'll talk about our companies is when we insert our personal experience into situations, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's going to be relevant, but you're right. It's not going to be about Schiffman or Goodbed or Perfectly. None of that. It's going to be about the industry, and where it makes sense, we'll insert opinion or, an example of, what we've done or things that we've seen. But
yeah. Yeah, people just need to understand, how we know what we know, or why we think what we think, what it's based on. And it all obviously is coming from our backgrounds. And I guess the other piece of my background that I didn't talk about is, prior to starting Goodbed, I came from outside the industry, as I started to allude to, which I was doing business strategy consulting. And then subsequent to that, I was doing investing. So I come
in the
at
media
this
space.
In the media space, which is ultimately what I came upon the opportunity to start Goodbed, was seeing companies in other categories doing similar things with some success, and then identifying a need in categories that maybe weren't being served. And mattresses kind of came to the top of my list at one point, actually through a purchase that I made myself that was incredibly frustrating, one might say quintessentially bad. And so it wasn't that the product was so bad, but the purchase experience was quite bad. And I just felt completely disempowered and frustrated and confused, and felt like, oh, wow, this category desperately could use this information. And then I started to learn about the business side of it and realized, oh, wow, well, they've been spending all their money on traditional media, which is incredibly inefficient way to spend your ad dollars when you're talking to an audience when you're trying to reach an audience of people who are buying a product once every 7 to 10 years. They're not self-selecting to watch any given television shows. So it's when I realized, oh, wow, we could also provide a much better service for the category in terms of helping them reach consumers at that key moment in time. And that's when it really started to click for me that this was a good opportunity. But that was all viewed through the lens of my investment work at the time. And so I tend to think about things, I guess, in a very analytical way. I come from a very data-driven analysis world. I was heavily trained in all that stuff. So that tends to be like why I've ended up speaking at so many conferences and so forth, because not only do we have access to an incredible amount of data at Goodbed by virtue of the fact that all the interactions we're having with consumers and retailers and manufacturers, which we kind of sit conveniently in between all three of those groups, but all those interactions are recorded digitally. So that provides a whole bunch of data for us. And then on top of that, I sort of, it's in my nature and in my training and background to want to dig into that data and find insights in it. And so that's what I enjoy sharing with others as those insights kind of bubble to the surface for me. And so we'll be doing a lot of that on this podcast. And that's part of my background and part of where I'm coming from when I share things.
Which you did from the beginning and continue to do. No question about it. Well, what do you think? Did we miss anything for episode number 1?
We went way longer than I thought, but I think that will also be potentially a theme here of this podcast.
Well, the good thing about a podcast is you can listen to some or all or none. It doesn't matter. You get to turn this on and off. Anyway, all right. Well, everybody, in case you're dropping in and just a level set, that's Mike Magnuson. I'm Mark Quinn. We are mattress industry nerds to the highest level. We're good friends, have been for a long time. What did you say? We're medium friends?
Medium good. Yeah. Let's start with that.
We're medium ascending to good friends.
Yeah.
Have been for a long time. And we're so glad that we're getting to do this. We ask that you come along for the ride and you enjoy it with us and connect, reach out, like and subscribe whenever you can. Even leave a review. You could be the very first review. I don't know if we have any yet by the time this air shows. We'll see. Hopefully not, because no one's heard it yet, so you can't really review a show you haven't heard.
Unless you love the premise. If you just love it,
it's just love
then,
to like
then
it.
go ahead and review it. Yeah.
Yeah. And make sure you're subscribed to the Betting News Now newsletter, because it will also be published, I think, every Friday, Mike. It'll go out, and then every Monday it'll be recapped in the news roundup. And I'm pretty sure Rick is going to put us in the top navigation on Betting News Now's website. So anyway, lots to do. And we didn't talk about this, Mike, but we're going to have really great interviews. So it's not going to just be Mike and I.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to bring in top industry experts. We're going to get them on and talk about it and, let them tell us what their perspective is and how they see the industry evolving and growing and what their company is doing inside of it. We want you to learn from them. So that's a big part of what we're going to be doing.
Yep.
So what else? Anything else?
Let's start there. This will be a journey. Yeah. We'll learn as we go. And I'm sure the mission will evolve and expand, and we'll be excited to have everybody along for the ride.
All right, everybody. We record these episodes on Friday, so for us, it's the weekend. I hope that no matter where you're at, whatever you're listening to us, whether it's on a ride in the car, you're on a treadmill, doesn't matter. We appreciate you tuning in and wish you all the best.
We're out.